walk past me, you don't even know that I exist. Going out of my head over you, out of my head over you, out of my head day and night, night and day and night. All right, I must be away to your heart. There's no reason why my being shy should keep us apart. And I think I'm going out of my head. Yes, I think I'm going out of my head. Oh, over you, out of my head. Over you, out of my head. Day and night, night and day and night. Oh, come on, yeah. All right,
Yeah, Solid Gold. But you know who those guys were, right? Little Anthony and the Imperials from way back when. One of the groups that, one of the many groups that recorded I'm Going Out of My Head.
I like that song. Yeah.
It's a good song.
I remember that was a pretty popular song.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm Rafer Brown.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And no, we're not live yet. Yeah, well, we are on YouTube. So I just want to let you know we'll be there joining you live all over the place in about 10 minutes, right after the Fox News break at the top of the hour. You can see a little behind the scenes activity going on here. Oh, yeah. If you want, this is a heating pad. It's nothing else. It's just a heating pad.
Me trying to get my chair straight.
Yeah, you getting your chair straight and all that. Lee's in this morning. Kelly is, I didn't even talk to her. I'm not sure.
She's taking some time.
R&R.
She's got a lot of things going on at work.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Well,
you know,
she
just
had to,
decided to take some time
she had to brave a hurricane last week. Well, a bunch of water.
Yeah,
and rain,
Friday.
wind
Yeah, she had to drive
like
through that storm we had.
So I was kind of anxious to hear from her, see what she had going on there. Anyway, we got a lot happening. We'll do a recap of some of the storm activity, and guess what?
What?
2 more systems.
Yeah, I saw that.
2 more things out there.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that.
We'll talk about that. Hopefully, we won't have to deal with anything.
And then the winds we're having now are
and we got
remnants of Ian.
Yeah, Ian.
Right.
Yeah, they are, but it's like
it's
really?
like a storm that will not die. It will not go away.
If we could figure a way to get to the center of mass on that thing, you know, you know
put a stick of dynamite in it.
No, bang bang.
Oh my gosh, it just
double
will
tap
not go
it.
away.
We need a double tap Ian. That's the best I
know.
can
I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna go out to the ocean and reform and come back.
Ooh.
It's a storm that won't die.
Ooh.
We need to get the hocus pocus witches out on
There
it.
you go. Anyway, that's all coming up beginning about a minute or so after 7 o'clock this morning, right after the Fox News break. So kind of hang in there for that. Meanwhile, let you listen to what's going on with some music. What do you think about that?
Love it.
See the light seems so wrong, but now it seems so right. What a lady, what a night. Spinning my head around and taking my body under.
All right, Jacksonville and beyond, it's your friend Rick Dees. Every weekday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., your daily D's right here on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole in one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary. Ray Magliotti here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Located on Gum Branch Road between Jacksonville and Richlands is Rock Creek Golf and Country Club, offering a beautiful and challenging golf course at very affordable rates. Car fee for members for 18 holes is only $16, and 9 holes is only $10. Monday through Friday, play for only $32, and seniors play for just $30, and this includes green fee and cart. On weekends and holidays, everyone pays $40. All prices include guard and green fee, and all eagles, birdies, pars, bogeys, double bogeys, and others are free. Pro Rick Morton invites you to call anytime, 910-324-5151 for a tee time.
When a loved one, your father, your sister, your aunt, your grandparent, is facing a cancer diagnosis, you want them to have access to the most promising cancer treatments available. I'm Siniqua Martin Green, and when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, our world changed forever. I wanted to know that she was getting the best treatments available. This experience made me so passionate about spreading awareness of treatment options, including clinical trials. That's why I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer to get information to the people who need it most, those who have been diagnosed with cancer and their loved ones. Clinical trials introduce new hope for patients, providing access to cutting-edge and potentially life-saving new treatments, while patients receive the best current care or treatments available. My hope is that all people diagnosed with cancer have access to effective treatments that will make them long-term survivors, like my mom. Talk to your doctor to see if a clinical trial may be the best choice for you or a loved one. To learn more, visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials today.
The greatest oldies for Onslow County and beyond starts now on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
There goes that song again. We used to call it our serenade. We fell in love when we heard it played over and over and over and over again. And I still remember when I sang the words and they made you mine. I'd steal a kiss and repeat each line over and over and over and over, and then we drifted apart. Oh, you walked off with my heart. It's funny.
Hey, YouTubers. You still there? There's at least one up you out there. Good morning. Hang in there. We'll be with you in just a few minutes. Lee Barrows and yours truly, Rayford Brown. We're going to be talking about the leftover Ian. Did you know that I had to walk over a quarter of an inch of rain that was left over out there in the parking lot this morning?
Goodness.
Oh my God, I thought I was going to drown.
Don't call the news.
Oh my God, the wind was howling. It was so
it
was so big, so much wind.
Some of the news people I watched were so dramatic over a little bit of rain and wind here.
Oh my goodness gracious. They just ain't been around these parks very much, have they?
No, I mean, we get out of the car, truck, don't even open the umbrella. We're just like, yeah, whatever, get a little wet. Just keep on going.
If you had an umbrella, I don't even have one. I just rush in, shirt's a little wet, and
yes,
I can enter the wet
Oh, they
t-shirt
were so
contest.
dramatic on TV.
Yeah.
I was laughing.
Obnoxiously dramatic.
Oh, it was
It's going to be
crazy.
my new description.
Obnoxiously dramatic.
Hey, coming up about 7:30 this morning, we're going to be talking with one of the folks who have filed a suit against the city of Jacksonville and against
Yeah.
the Onslow County Board of Elections, and we'll tell you
I have
why.
questions.
It's going to be fun.
I have questions.
One of the complainants, Joe McLaughlin, will join us at 7:30 this morning,
Right.
and let him explain why they did this. And you know what? I read that whole complaint. I got all of it in front of me. It's about 4,000 pages. Not quite that many.
Why are complaints always like that?
It's they try to cover all the bases so to make sure that somebody will listen to them. So anyway, we'll be going through that this morning about 7:30. So hang in there for that.
She will be there
to talk to people firsthand with him and make sure, right? We just want to make sure that we are giving them everything that they need.
The president visits Florida later in the week to survey Hurricane Ian's destruction. At least 65 people died in Florida and North Carolina. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg tells NBC's Meet the Press Ukraine is pushing ahead with its counteroffensive.
This weekend again, we have seen that they have been able to take a new town, Lyman, and that demonstrates that the Ukrainians are making progress, are able to push back.
Russia's military announced it was withdrawing its forces from Lyman to more favorable positions. America's listening to Fox News.
And right now. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And welcome to the Live and Local show this morning. Live and Local Real
Talk.
And yes, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I got this little thing, this pad on my back. It's called a heating pad.
Yeah, well,
Feels
that
good
happens when you get a little older. Life experiences. No, I didn't.
Did you call me
say
old?
I didn't. Now Google.
Did you call me old?
Google's listening now. Just popped up.
Did you call me old?
No, I didn't call you old. I said as you get older, it's life experiences.
Oh, okay.
Well, how many foot chases did you do in your time? How many times did you jump over a fence or climb a wall?
I chased a guy into a clothesline one time.
That's rough. I saw my brother run into one time.
I didn't do it. He chased him into it. I didn't even know it was there. I'm glad he found it.
Talk about being clotheslined.
Oh yeah, he was. That was a fun experience.
Yes, I mean all those years of all your life catches up after a while, and you just
it happens.
Need a little bit of heat pad here and there.
Feels so good too when it works.
I think we should get heat pads to cover our chairs, and they vibrate.
I got
and we'll
one at
just
home.
sit here and smile.
I got one at home.
Do you?
I got one.
We need to do all our chairs like that.
It just rolls up and rolls down. It's got the heating built into it. And
That's what we need to do.
I could go.
We'd just be sitting here with a big smile on our face every morning.
Put me to sleep.
To reach over and just hit Rayford every now and then.
Onslow County, indeed, virtually most of North Carolina got lucky this past weekend. In fact, we've dodged a lot of those nasty things known as hurricanes all year long.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, that too. Only one other close call. That was before this monster of a storm put Southwest Florida in its sights.
Horrible.
It crossed Florida, crossed into the Atlantic with much less strength than it had when it came ashore, then made landfall for the third time. First time was in Cuba. Second time was in just south of Tampa. Made landfall just north of Charleston Bay Charleston on Friday. We're lucky that the forecasters rightfully predicted a northward turn, and that took it inland, away from coastal North Carolina. It continued to lose strength, becoming a tropical storm, then a depression, then it was gone. It just disappeared.
It's not completely gone.
Stop it.
High pressure, the low
pressure,
the winds aloft or whatever.
Yeah,
still kicking up a little
that's
bit.
what's causing our little mess that we got outside right now.
Right,
We'll
it's supposed to be kind of windy.
Control our weather for the next few days.
It won't die. It won't go away.
In Florida, the death toll as of last night was 83.
That's sad.
No doubt, as search crews continue combing through the rubble of buildings and homes, there will be others. No doubt about it. Thousands of people were rescued. That's the good thing. One of the many tragic stories, a family from South Florida. They evacuated as they were told to do. They found refuge in a West Coast resort in the Panhandle. Their 9-year-old son somehow fell to his death from the 19th floor.
No.
In eastern North Carolina, winds of tropical storm strength, mostly in gusts. We had 47 mile per hour gust here in the Onslow area. That's the biggest one that I saw. Brought limbs down, knocked out power to Duke and Jones Onslow customers. Created flooding throughout the region. Doesn't matter where you go, there was flooding. Water was over the docks at Sneads Ferry, Swansboro, and even downtown Jacksonville. While weather conditions have improved, there's still a lot of water in low-lying areas. Be careful. If you insist on taking your boat into the White Oak or New Rivers, even into the intercoastal, please be aware of potential trees and other debris that you don't want to hit. That said, the ocean is going to get rough again this week. Good news is that it's not due to a hurricane exactly. Another system formed up during the weekend, Tropical Depression 2. It's headed towards the Windward Islands to the Eastern Caribbean and could threaten that area mid to late this week. No long-range forecasts are available as yet on that. And then there's TD1, Tropical Disturbance Number 1. It's been out there since last week, just hanging out, doing a little circle, a little jog here and there, whatever, going virtually nowhere. It remains just off the coast of Africa, likely to become a tropical storm later this week as it moves westward, perhaps, and will probably turn northwestward by the end of the week. That's the best forecast they can give us about that thing. Both of these disturbances are worthy of us keeping our eyes out, and we will. Hopefully, that's all we'll have to do. Maybe we should just all give them the evil eye. You know that evil eye that the Greek have?
Yes.
We all should go to the shoreline and give it to that.
Kamala out there on a boat. Let her just stand there and face them as they're coming that way.
Yeah. Well, Kamala, good old Kamala. Cannot believe her. I really cannot believe her.
Yeah, her words were not well thought of when she made the statements that she made. The statements about the relief for the hurricane victims.
All we can do right now is hope for a successful fulfillment of Joe Biden's term in office, ending in January 20th, 2025.
Five. That's right.
Otherwise, we'll be looking at Kamala Harris. If anybody did not catch it, her response to aid for victims of Hurricane Ian, she described that federal Hurricane Ian relief would be based on equity.
Yes. Prioritizing communities of color.
Really?
What? I don't care. Color, creed, race, whatever. I don't care if you're what. None of that should play into the fact that you lost everything.
She claims
and you need help.
She claims that people of color and low-income communities are most affected by natural disasters, such as Hurricane Ian. I didn't know that Ian when he went into South Florida.
He picked and chose. He picked and chose who he wanted to.
Went after the communities of color.
Right. That's ridiculous. What? And then when she was questioned about it, she won't answer now. She's avoiding it.
She's hiding.
Yeah, because she knows.
Harris described how federal relief should be given based on equity. Her words: "It's our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making." So
that doesn't even make sense.
The wealthy in South Florida, there at Miami Beach, perhaps,
or they're retired.
They're not affected by this storm. It just did not pick them of their own making.
I'm sure everyone.
So those people on South Beach down there, the storm was something they designed.
I guess it's their fault. They lost everything because they were not of the right color.
She was speaking at a DNC Women's Leadership Forum in Las Vegas. One of those in attendance added women to the mixture of a class of people who should be considered first. Harris said simply, "Absolutely. So now it's women and people of color who are women, who don't have a lot of money. What about the rest of us, the lonely white male out here?"
She just needs to stay home. Quit talking.
Okay, I want you to understand this. I wonder if she would apply the same logic when a school bus is involved in a wreck, a bus with white and black children on board, males and females. Would her standard of triage based on color be taken into consideration? If she was the one deciding who was going to get treated first, would she treat the African American females first?
Her best thing to do is stay home,
You're
keep her
pretty
mouth
much
shut. Right.
speechless on that, aren't
Right. Yeah. I have words, but nothing that I really want to put out there. But
you? Really?
yeah.
That she's a racist.
Yes,
Anything else that you can say about her? She's nothing but a racist.
she does. She does have a propensity to open her mouth
She's a racist.
when she shouldn't. She's ridiculous.
Got diarrhea of the mouth.
Yes, she really needs to. She just needs to stay home or go do some work. Go to the border.
Which one? South
Huh.
Carolina, North Carolina,
Well,
Florida, Georgia?
I'm talking Texas.
She's not going there. It's
Mexico.
too dangerous. And, she'd be caught looking at stuff that she didn't want to look at, and then she'd have to try to report it back. And then, her bumbling ways.
Yes. Then she'd be wanting to provide homes and money for all these people. When we have so many people struggling
I
now.
can agree to providing homes for them. Here's a couple of shelter halves, and take care of it. You know what shelter halves are? It's a Marine Corps and Army's version of you got a pup tent.
Right.
Every guy carried a half of one, half of a shelter half.
Right.
That way you didn't have to carry the whole tent yourself. So you and your buddy teamed up and you put them together.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a shelter half.
I didn't know that.
Now you do. 2 New York City leaders last week told small business owners to try to de-escalate situations instead of calling the cops when they were confronted by crooks.
Uh-oh.
That was their solution on how to handle the increase in criminal activity in New York and in other cities across the country. A couple days later, a man stabbed an on-duty EMS worker to death in New York.
I saw that.
The so-called public safety tip sheet. They put out a public safety sheet tweeted by Queens Councilwoman Tiffany Caban and Zehran Kwame Mamdani, a member of the state assembly, urges merchants to dial 311, seek mental health services for people with mental illnesses, and engage in community mediation instead of calling the cops.
What?
In addition to calling 311, sorry, don't call 911, call 311. The poster urges small business owners encountering conflict to use one of the 5 Ds of intervention. Direct, meaning directly intervene by saying no or using I and we statements. Delegate, distract, delay, and document. I'm going to add another D to that. Duck.
Duck. Duck.
Who the heck are these Looney Tunes? How do you think it'll work out if a nervous, drugged out, or drunk guy walks into the store and tells the clerk, I got a gun, give me all your money, or I'm going to blow you away?
Well, you better hope that clerk doesn't produce one that's a little bigger.
It's in New York.
Oh, okay. Well.
And the clerk has seen the so-called community mediation proposal of a couple liberal legislators, and he says no. What happens when the robbers start shooting?
Exactly.
Who's going to own that one?
Well, New York, just like California, you can go in and do what you want to and walk away from it.
Thank you. No. Criminal psychologists, real ones, will not suggest that kind of reaction. I guarantee you that right now. A real honest to goodness criminal psychologist, somebody who's been there, got that T-shirt, would they suggest just try to talk it out? Don't dial 911, call 311, get a psychologist to come down there and help you out.
But any law enforcement officer would tell you not to do that.
No, don't say no. Give them the money. That's the best thing to do.
That's right.
Don't engage them.
Engaging them is the worst thing you can do. You know, you're
Try
not
to-
trained for
Try
that.
to talk them down.
Right.
How smart are y'all?
I wouldn't be talking.
You
I'd
ever
be
been to
giving
a
them.
shrink school? Do you have any idea how to do this? No, you don't.
I'll be like, if you just go open the trunk, I'll put the register in it for you. You know,
There you go.
as long as you just leave me alone.
And then as you turn your back, and if I've got the right processes to deal with you, I'm going to put a...
No. Let's not make this a movie of the week.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay. So much for the movie of the week.
Well, I'd have to holler at him, turn around and face me first. I won't shoot him in the back.
Why?
Because he's not a threat if he's turned away from me.
He's a threat if he turns towards you.
Yeah, that's right. I wait for him to turn towards me.
Don't wait that long. There's no law that requires you to do that. That's in cowboy movies. You can't shoot him in the back.
But if you're outside,
it's a lot safer.
Oh, well. Seems like to me the threat would be over.
Well, it would be in about
30 seconds. Bing.
About 125 grains later.
Yes.
Okay, coming up at 7:30 this morning, we've got a guest going to be in the studio. The city of Jacksonville has been sued. The county of Onslow has been sued because the Board of Elections has been sued.
I do the same, right?
Which is the Board of Elections has been sued. Why? Racial discrimination, basically, is the bottom line.
Well,
here.
we're certainly going to learn about it.
We're going to hear about that coming up at 7:30 this morning. One of those folks filing the suit, the complainant's going to be in the studio.
Yes.
And I will tell you up front, I read that suit from one end to the other. It's a lot to read.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot disagree with them.
I have some questions, though.
I got other questions, but
right.
Maybe there's a better way. But I think a lot of people around here will agree with them against the city.
Well, it's going to be interesting to hear what he's got to say.
Absolutely. So hang around for that. And if you got any questions you want to ask during that time, you can give us a call. Our number is then and now, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. You're live and local Real Talk. Weather is next. Hang in there. Tideline Marine and Family, going on 3 years with Elise and George Papistrat at the helm. Been really cool. A lot of changes have happened, and George made a commitment the very first day to work hard at turning boats out as fast as possible, in spite of a pandemic that occurred right after that, in spite of the fact that more people were forced to keep their old motors running longer. Tideline is now doing just that. Naturally, as the boating season for a majority of people is winding down, a lot of boaters traditionally put off getting their boats in and wait until they start making their plans next spring. Some even wait until hot weather has arrived the next year. Those who are smart, let me do that again. Those who are smart will get their motors in now, especially if they just want routine servicing. Oil, lower unit oil change, thermostats, water pumps, spark plugs, and something like that. Why not do what those folks do? Get smart, bring your boats in, get the routine maintenance work done, then follow Tideline's instructions to make sure your boats stay ready when you are ready next year. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Gale warning in effect from this morning through late tonight. This thing just won't go away, will it?
I told you, it won't die. It's coming back.
Northerly winds 20 to 30 knots with gust up to 40 knots offshore. Seas 5 to 7 feet, 3 to 4 near shore. Dominant period 5 seconds. Sounds and rivers rough Kelly, increasing to very rough Kelly in the afternoon. Northwesterly winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 30. Seas 5 to 7 tomorrow. Dominant period 7 seconds. Sounds and rivers again rough. Northwesterly winds on Wednesday, 15 to 20, gusts up to 25 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Yay. Seas 3 to 5 feet coming down in the afternoon.
Okay, and today is going to be cloudy with a high near 59. North winds 15 to 18 miles per hour with gusts as high as 28. Chance of rain is 20%. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 49. North wind 13 to 16 miles per hour with gusts as high as 32. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 62. Tuesday night, a low of 49. And Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high near 69.
And we're joined in the studio by one and only Joe McLaughlin. He says, we, the undersigned, say that you are a bunch of racist pig dogs.
You're always into something.
Is that what you said?
Not exactly, Rafty.
Is that the bottom line?
Good morning, Miss Lee. That's close to the bottom line.
I read it, and that's what I came up with.
So that's basically correct.
See, yeah.
So explain to our listeners
Joe
what
McLaughlin's
exactly
in here.
have you done?
Joe and a couple of other folks have decided to sue the city of Jacksonville and the county of Onslow, basically the Onslow County Board of Elections.
So last week, my attorney filed in federal court for the Eastern District of North Carolina a complaint for declaratory relief, injunction, damages, and attorney fees under civil rights, voting rights abuse.
Why? Who's violating somebody's civil rights and voting rights?
So it gets to the city of Jacksonville's ward system. For about nearly 30 years, Jacksonville has had a representation structure that rewards some and disadvantages others.
Okay, well, this is the ward system for the city of Jacksonville, right? City
Correct.
council, basically, mayor's not included. There are 2 at-large city council people and 4 people who are elected by certain wards that are set up 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
Now, wards. This is not unusual. Across the country, they've got districts set up where people represent certain districts, right?
Well, sure.
So what's the difference between that and here?
The difference here is that it's designed and the intent and the outcome is it favors some groups at the expense of others. Here's the problem. Think of the 4 wards of Jacksonville as a 4-leaf clover. The top 2 leaves of the clover are Northwoods, Bryn Mawr. The bottom 2 leaves of the clover is Camp Lejeune. And so what the city of Jacksonville did about 30 years ago was they created 2 wards that predominantly used Camp Lejeune's population and then carved out a couple of historically Black neighborhoods with the expressed purpose, and they say so on their governing documents, the city charter.
Which I find amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
They
they are.
admitted it.
They
right
are
up front.
quite proud. Well, so what's wrong with that? Shouldn't our governance look like our country? Well, sure it should, but it should be based upon equal opportunity and a level playing field. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is just a couple of months ago when Jerry Bittner ran for city council, my guy, Jerry Bittner had to achieve about 1,100 votes to win his seat.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, across town, the gentleman that was elected there only needed 172 votes. And that pattern, so on my vote is worth 1/6 what it is across town. And this is not just a one-off election. This has been the case for the last nearly 30 years.
So, but basically each one of these wards has the same number of eligible, not registered, but eligible voters in it, right?
No, see, here's the magic. Camp Lejeune voters or Camp Lejeune residents, most of them cannot vote because they're residents of another state.
Well, they could vote if they registered here.
Right. And
But then
that's
they'd
what
have to
the
give
issue
up.
is.
Then they'd have to get up
But they
their
don't do that.
domicile. So they are ineligible to vote, and it gets worse than that.
So
How
is
many-
this with malice aforethought?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But you'd have to ask the city council, past and present. So here's the thing, and it's kind of a systematic voter suppression campaign. How many voting stations are there aboard Camp Lejeune?
0.
How about that?
Can you register aboard Camp Lejeune? The answer is no.
No. Can you canvass aboard Camp Lejeune?
No.
No. So it's the districts were designed to reward some groups at the expense of others. Over the weekend, we had the stunning pronouncement. Our vice president said, a Hurricane Ian relief should be awarded on the basis of
We talked about that. Yes.
Like, really?
We were like, what?
should be awarded on the basis of equity.
Yeah.
Now, most right-thinking people would think that's terrible.
Yeah.
So if you find the award of hurricane relief objectionable upon the basis of race, which is equity speak, why would you award political seats on the basis of race?
Yeah.
We're better than that.
I understand. And you went before council some
Yeah.
time ago.
So this
About
is
2 years ago. Something
This
like
is
that?
round 5 of a 12-rounder. A year ago, when the city began their census-required ward drawing exercise, I asked to be on the committee that would redraw the maps. That was denied.
Mhm.
In fact, they stacked the deck with I called it the Democrat Dream Team. The most prominent Democrats in town are who the city council put on the map drawing team.
Mhm.
Why they did that, you'd have to ask them. And as was fully expected, they came back with a map that just maintained discriminatory wards. And here we are today in federal court.
I only have one question because I can't disagree with what you're doing. The only question I've got, the only concern that I've got is, what's the county got to do with this? I know the county board of elections, but the
Yes, you're
county,
suing
the
them.
Onslow County government controls the Onslow County Board of Elections with funding and whatever, right?
We didn't sue the county. We brought to court the Board of Elections.
You can't sue. Okay,
Right.
so you sue my wife, but you don't sue me, but I still have to be involved in it.
Right.
That's what the situation is, though, right?
Why the
What-
county board of elections?
They administer this election, which we feel is discriminatory.
But they don't have any choice.
So
By state law, right?
my personal view is that if one board of government is failing in their duty to the citizens, whoever is the next level, they have an inherent, if not implied, responsibility to address that wrongdoing. If we're jacked up here in Onslow County,
But they're state mandated to do this, right?
Right.
to have elections, they are not state mandated to have racially discriminatory.
They
voting
can't stop
laws.
it. Could they stop it?
Of course they could.
How?
Take them to court.
Board of Elections.
Sure.
Well, that's
This-
not
this-
their duty.
But is it? Yeah.
the senior element of government can absolutely, and they have a responsibility
Mhm.
to talk to their lesser, the
So why didn't
subordinate
you
groups.
sue the state of North Carolina Board of Elections?
That's not where the problem
Or
is.
the state
The problem
legislature.
is in the city, and we're going to federal court because the federal court was involved in this case. 30
Well,
some
they're the
years
ones
ago.
kind of started the whole process, right?
No. The people that started the process were the litigants
I know, but
30
that
years
was
ago.
now former city council person, right?
and his collective. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So they started it.
Yeah.
With the federal government.
Right. And that's why we're going back to federal government. So when that suit was filed, it was actually dismissed because the city and the group reached an accommodation. And so where are we now? So we could go to court. My attorney, a very competent attorney, the best in the state, tells me that they have 60 days to respond to our suit.
Mhm.
Hopefully the city will do as they did almost 30 years ago and say, you know what, we know this is wrong. In fact, Rayford, when you talk to these guys individually and ladies, they all admit, yeah, we know it's wrong, but we don't want to be called a racist. That's not moral courage.
Well, wait a minute now. As I just said a few minutes ago about Kamala Harris, she is a racist, making comments like she made. That's racism. It doesn't have to be white on black being racist. Black on white can be racist, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
So let me finish that point. So what we're looking for, what we think, I've got probably the best person in the state with this case. He told me flat out, I would not have taken this case unless I think we can win, because I've got my professional reputation at stake. So we think at the end of the day, we will win in court. So what should the city do? The city should settle. They should redraw the wards, pay the costs that we've incurred so far, and move on. And frankly, it's going to be to the advantage of all parties involved, because this problem of defective voting wards, it's not just confined to Jacksonville.
Well, are you asking for a new election as a result of it?
That could be a part of future negotiations. We have a city election in less than a year's time.
Yeah.
So we think that this case has merits that have nationwide impact. The people who like this kind of discriminatory ward, they might decide, well, we don't want this case to go higher, and we are prepared to go to higher court if we don't win at this court. I think for a number of reasons, the people involved might say, well, you know what, we'll take this loss in Jacksonville, but we'll preserve these other defective districts across the country.
Well, I have one question about the timing of the lawsuit. Is this something that you started before the elections came about? I mean, why now?
We're at this point now because it's been a very long and arduous process. We tried to have people from all across the city be a part of this lawsuit. We were unable to do that because of fear of retribution.
Mm-hmm.
There are people, prominent business persons, who disagree with the structure, but they're afraid of the dreaded R word.
Oh, racist.
And so it's taken time.
So are you a racist?
No.
So you've been working on this ever since you first brought it up?
Sure. I've been working on this since...
well, I knew you were.
Long as I've known
right.
you, you've been doing this.
Yes.
Since the census of 2000, of 2000, when I was a brand new county commissioner, I went down to City Hall and they were going to continue this wards that we have today. And I said to the elected body at the time, I said, look, this is racist. You've got a short history at that point in 2000, a short history of one half of city council getting elected with 1,000 or more votes, and then somebody else gets a handful of votes. It's ridiculous. So here's the tell.
Typically in Ward 1, downtown, let's just take that one. You got how many people turn out to vote total?
Less than 300. Less than 300.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very low turnout.
300.
So it's
And Northwoods, how many people actually turn out there?
1,500, 2,000.
So, but both of those districts, both of those wards have or really close to the same number of eligible voters.
No,
right?
so you keep using that word eligible, Ray. If they are citizens of another state, they are not eligible.
All
voters.
they got to do is sign up to register to vote.
It's not as easy as that. Then they got to pay taxes. So here's the thing: the thing that really has made me passionate about this, the whole underlying current of this lawsuit and this situation, is based upon the false and objectionable premise that the white population of Jacksonville would never, because they're a bunch of racists, they would never vote for somebody that was not white. Well,
That's a fallacy.
It's more than a fallacy. It's an objectionable and odious and abhorrent concept. Who was the top vote getter in the school board election that we just had in the primary?
Bill Lanier.
Bill Lanier. And remind me about Bill Lanier.
I think
he's of color.
But I think of Bill Lanier. I don't think of him as a man of color. I think of him as a man of honor. I respect him and I like him.
And a hero.
A hero, yes, that's the way I think of him. It has nothing to do with this color.
In the county commissioner race in 2020, who was the top county commissioner?
Robin.
There you go, and Asian American.
Yeah.
So see the Democrats, and this is really a Democrat versus everybody else thing. When we went to City Hall a year ago on this case to propose to City Council an alternative to their current maps, it was not only the Democrat dream team was the pencil drawing map committee, but it was a who's who of all the current Democrat Party officers are. The Democrats know that if they have to compete on a level playing field in Onslow County and Jacksonville, they won't get elected.
So should it's a nonpartisan race for the city of Jacksonville. So,
Right.
so should they do away with that?
That's a good question. The first start, if there's something to be said about maps, as long as the maps are drawn fairly. We have maps for Congress, maps for state. County is at large, but
I was going to ask you about that too, because we got districts in North Carolina and all across the country
Right.
that are supposedly the same size number of voters or eligible voters living in those districts, right?
Mhm.
But the Republicans are accused in North Carolina, you being one of them, of gerrymandering, right?
the maps for the state house that the Republicans have produced are far more compact and equitable than anything that the Democrats had. Go look at history. Google the electoral map for a guy named Mel Watts, Congressman Mel Watt. He ended up, I think, a cabinet secretary for Obama. But before then, he was a congressman from North Carolina. We called it the salamander map because it basically followed I-85 and carved out every minority neighborhood that they could grab. So when the Democrats used their pencil to create districts, it's called social justice. When the Republicans produce maps that are far more compact, far less partisan, it's called racism.
Well, I think our biggest problem with redrawing all these maps is the fact that the Camp Lejeune base is in the city limits, and we have to include that. And that's been a big issue with everything for so long.
So an idea could
I
be.
think that's where we need to work at.
So my initial proposal a year ago was to redraw the map and split Camp Lejeune equally among the four
Yes,
districts.
I remember seeing that. Yes.
I did it in 3 hours. And so to say that it's a really big, it's not rocket science. It's literally click and point. The machine adds the
Right.
numbers. So if you like wards, great. Let's keep the wards, but let's split the base up equally. So how many other cities besides Jacksonville and Onslow County have wards? 0. Do you know who the mayor of Richlands is?
You mean cities in Onslow County? Yeah, right.
So Jacksonville is the only city in Onslow County that has wards. Somehow, and if you extend the logic of the folks who started this, somehow the evil racists of Richlands have elected a black mayor at large. How did that happen?
He's been mayor for quite a while,
Yeah,
too.
and so again, it comes back to politics. The ward system of Jacksonville is designed to unfairly reward the Democrat political machine.
Okay. If you got a question for Joe
Yes, I
or
have 2
for us,
questions from listeners.
okay, we'll ask him when we come back. How's that?
Okay, sounds
Give us a
good.
ringy-dingy, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. We'll be right back. And our guest in the studio this morning, Joe McLaughlin, former politician. You're no longer a politician.
I'm on the
are you?
10th step of recovery. But I was knocking on doors yesterday, so I think I had a slip.
I'm still at the bottom of recovery. I'm still at the bottom of the list.
I'm just out there in no man's land.
You're
I guess.
above the fray, yes.
There you go. Looking down on all the mess that's been
Yeah,
created.
they need like classes for recovery from politics. Like, you know, I would go.
With triple P, right?
Yes.
Instead of triple A. You've got a couple of questions.
Yes.
People have called
so
in. Or
we
sent
have a
in.
listener
Yeah.
that would like to know what you hope to gain from this. And I say you, meaning you,
The group.
The group.
What we would like is a electoral system in Jacksonville that does not discriminate on the basis of race, whether that's 4 wards that equally divide the base population or a all at large system. I don't care how council decides to do it, frankly. But all I do know is that my vote, I live in Bryn Mawr, my vote is worth 1/6 the vote over across town, purely on the basis of race, because I can't be trusted to vote for a black person.
How many people from Camp Lejeune who live aboard Camp Lejeune, how many of those folks have voted in our city or county?
Not many, especially they sometimes turn out for the national elections, but for municipal and the city elections, they don't turn out. And and even if they wanted to, can they vote aboard Camp Lejeune? No,
they have to come off base.
The progressives would call that systematic voter suppression.
Well,
they can't register. Well, they can't vote on base. It's difficult to vote. They got to get off base.
Don't they belong to anybody on base? They belong to precinct 1, right?
No, they're
1 and 4, right?
And a little bit of Bittner's ward.
No, I'm talking not just the city. I'm talking overall, as far as a precinct goes.
At the county level, I think they're
at the county level. Yeah, it's all Jacksonville 01.
Yeah.
Which has an extremely low turnout.
So what I hope to gain, nothing personal, we want a more fair election system in Jacksonville that doesn't disadvantage one part of town for another.
Well, you pretty much answered the second question is what would redrawing do and how do you want them redrawn, which you've pretty much been addressing all along.
Yeah. Why not just exclude? I mean, they live in the city. They live in the county. But why not just exclude those who live aboard Camp Lejeune?
So, I posed that option to a member of city council. I said, well, what if you guys just de-annexed Camp Lejeune? If Camp Lejeune is the problem.
We can't afford to do that, Joe. Are you crazy?
Yeah, see, that's not true either. There have been times where they annexed the base mostly for tax reasons, I believe, possibly for these political reasons.
Do they even pay taxes?
It's how sales tax gets apportioned.
Oh, right, the sales tax, yes.
And they could do that. It would take a lot of political courage, but right now the city has a pretty good situation. I did a little thought exercise yesterday. I looked at the population of cities that are like ours. Jacksonville, if you exclude Camp Lejeune, is about 41,000 people. Like Holly Springs and another
Spring
city,
Lake and whatever,
and another and the budget of Jacksonville is huge by comparison. Indian Trail, their budget expenditure is $11 million. Jacksonville's budget is $62 million. Holly Springs is $39 million. So Camp Lejeune, governing in Jacksonville should be a slam dunk because of the revenue involved and the demographics of our city.
Isn't that taxation without representation for those Marines living in Camp Lejeune?
They don't pay property tax. They don't pay sales tax unless they come off base.
Yeah.
But, Jacksonville is an all-American town full of patriots. We deserve better than an electoral system that's been designed to favor one group over another.
And we've talked about it. I could sue the city of Jacksonville and feel comfortable in doing it. But suing the county, and I know you're saying you're not suing the county, but you are, because they're the ones who are going to have to pay, right? They got to pay for.
Are going to pay.
They're going to have to pay for representation. For the folks in Sneeds Ferry, I got to pay twice. I got to pay for the city representation, and I got to pay for the county.
So do you.
So what you should do?
Why should I have to pay for a lawyer? Why should I have to pay for a lawyer to represent the Board of Elections when the Board of Elections has nothing to do with this?
They're implementing a discriminatory policy. So if you feel that way, and I see merit to your complaint, I pay county taxes too.
I know.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why you should talk to your county commissioner and your city council members. Say, look, this is BS. We're tired of paying legal fees. you should settle with the plaintiffs and change the discriminatory system that we have. That would fix it really.
So as a resident of one of these wards, and well, even the two at law, as a resident of the city of Jacksonville, we need to get off the pot and go talk to the mayor and council people.
Yeah. This weekend, the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, she said that hurricane relief should be distributed on the basis of equity. That's liberal speak for skin color. Why should political seats be distributed the same way? They shouldn't, especially when my vote is worth 1/6 the number across town.
Yeah,
everybody knows it's BS. It's time for the political class of Jacksonville and Onslow County to man and woman up, do the right thing, redraw the map. It won't take very long.
910-333-0139. Got a comment? We'll be right back. Give us a call. So, Joe, I understand that no other media have contacted you. They apparently don't know about it. I mean, we had a hurricane going on, right?
Yeah, it was broken on your show, Rayford. I think
That's
I thought
right.
I owed
You stick
that.
with live and local.
My home ground with a co-host many years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I do appreciate it. And so,
I have another question too.
So, you reporters out there who might be listening, if you can't get a copy of this in real easy, if you'll email me, I will send you a copy of this suit. I got it. Y'all can get it, but I had to jump through a lot more hoops than you have to jump through. Just email me, rayfordbrown@gmail.com.
Everything's in the public domain.
It is, but I got it easy.
All right, here's another question. How much money, and wouldn't you equate this to, how much money are you seeking, and wouldn't you equate this to extortion? In other words, redraw this or I'll continue lawsuits.
I can't really get into what's been spent so far, but it's not a big number.
Okay.
But extortion, last time I checked, demanding your civil rights be recognized is not extortion. That's a duty.
And then somebody else was asking, I asked you earlier off the air, who the attorney was representing the lawsuit.
That's a public record. So I have former North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Bob Hunter as my counsel and his law firm. Found him after a long search, and he's arguably the best person in the state for North Carolina redistricting law.
Right. And so I saw you had 2 other people listed with yourself as plaintiffs on this.
Out of respect for
lawsuit.
their privacy, if you want to know who all is involved, you can dig into
It's
the
in the suit.
details. Yeah, dig
Right.
into the suit.
Yes,
Right.
it's
Somebody
in the
was
suit.
asking about
Because
that
there has
too.
been intimidation. There has been
Oh, I'm
intimidation.
sure.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you can put up with it, but
I got thick skin. It comes with
Well,
11.
I know one
Comes
of
with
them.
being
I
an
know
03, 11, or
she-
11B
Yeah,
in the
pretty
Army.
much.
She won't let it happen.
and I don't mind putting it out there who they are publicly because it is public
Yes.
record. Of course, we got you,
Right.
Joe McLaughlin, we got Lori Reddy Giovanni, and Juan Carlos Beltran. And they're listing it as plaintiffs on behalf of themselves and others similarly situated.
Right.
I thought that was kind of an
Now, I
interesting.
noticed in the suit too, when you name names like Jacksonville City Council, I know you named the mayor, but you named some of the new council members that were elected and put into this office, and they weren't elected at the time that they redrew the maps.
No, but
Is that just a technicality? Or?
this is you hire the lawyer does his thing, but they are part of the corrective situation.
They can,
and that's what they should do.
Former council people have nothing to do with it.
Again, the goal is not to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court,
Mhm.
where we could go because it's a federal case. The goal is for Jacksonville to change the current method of drawing wards in Jacksonville.
So, has your attorney met with the city's attorney?
Not that I know.
Okay. Do you anticipate
They've been in
that happening?
communication with them, but I can't speak to that. I would hope if we are going to settle, the terms of any settlement would go through my attorney.
Okay.
And who gets the money?
What money? Are you seeking money?
Attorney's fees, damages. Yeah.
What kind of damages?
The cost of the litigation, however it totals up by the time we get there.
That would be basically lawyers' fees, right?
Yeah.
So,
lawyers' fees. Yeah.
You're not looking for
No.
$1 million settlement to pay us off, so we don't.
No. This is not jackpot justice.
So the sooner that they settle, the cheaper it's going to be. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that the city council will do that. Remember, when this started 30 years ago, the plaintiffs filed in federal court alleging that the evil racists of Jacksonville would never vote for a person of color. And the interesting thing is, that happened in the early 90s. The next election in 1996, there was a black man elected for county commissioner, one of the top vote getters. And so if the basic allegation that the evil racists of Jacksonville would never vote for a person of color, if it was ever true, it was disproved in 1996 when Ernie Wright became the commissioner.
But still, they went through. They continued
because
for the last 25 years.
Because I call them the big government crowd. They kind of like the deal they got now.
Are they afraid?
It suits their purpose. They're afraid. I think I can't speak for them. You'd have to ask the council members, why haven't you changed this before? Make them answer.
So I have a question. 2024, you going to run for mayor?
I'm focused on electing Ted Budd to the U.S. Senate in 60 days.
That's 2022. I'm asking 2024.
I haven't thought about my personal political situation beyond November.
Right.
Would you say this is a political ploy on your part?
No. Well, it's a political action.
I'm talking about for you personally.
No.
You're not using this as
I've taken
ploy to be mayor or council member.
I take very seriously my oath to protect and defend the Constitution. I've taken it multiple times with multiple colors of uniform, and when I see a electoral system in my hometown that's inherently discriminatory, I feel compelled to act.
Now, technically, if none of this had happened, it would not even have to be redrawn to the next census, right? That's every 10 years?
The map making is required after census every 10 years. And so we're locked into it. I did this in 2000 as a new county commissioner in Onslow. I went to City Hall. I said, this map that you got here, it discriminates because on one side of town, you need 6 times as many votes as the other side of town. And I got caught grief then. And a very prominent lady in city affairs at the time said, you just don't know what you've done. You've set back race relations in Jacksonville 20 years. Why? Because I wanted fairness. So it comes back to politics. This is not much more than an effort by the hardcore Democrats in Jacksonville to maintain political power at the table by using the the horrible premise that the racists in Jacksonville would never vote for a person of color.
Well, this, we'll just take Lejeune for just a second. This can be a real big problem aboard Lejeune for the city if Lejeune, as has been suggested by DOD, will be reduced in numbers.
I don't think that's going to happen.
There's some proposals out there.
Well, and if that did happen,
then they would have to redraw, right?
Yeah, sure they would. Well, this crowd that has enabled racist districts for 30 years, they're not going to do anything that changes that. Which is why I have no sympathy for taking them to court.
Okay, got it. Joe, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Appreciate you for coming in. And I know you'll stay in touch with me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Joe McLaughlin. You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. Fox News is now. We'll be back in about 60. All right, Joe's left. So if anybody's got a comment or question or concern or something like that you'd like to talk to us about, give us a call. Our number, 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. Interesting conversation.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I've had questions about it before I moved back here. I'm back in the late 80s. I'm like, what is this all about? This sounds weird to me. We're a small town.
Right.
Without Camp Lejeune, we're an extremely small town. So
Maybe
suddenly we've annexed Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, and that has always been a big issue when it comes to voting. You
Never
cannot
understood.
deny them the right because you don't know how many wives on base or husbands that might have come into town and registered here locally.
They can register.
That's right.
Even if they're aboard Camp Lejeune.
That's right.
They can register to vote in Onslow County.
But I do think that we need
because
to
it is part of Onslow. It was not part of Camp Lejeune. Part of Jacksonville until the city decided to annex it.
I know the base will not allow anything political as such on base because we've tried many of the time to go out there and do voter registrations, and they're like, no.
And I cannot disagree with that.
Right.
Okay. Can you set up a booth there on Highway 24 at the bridge? Yep, you could.
Well, I don't see why we can't go to the sidewalk in front of the PX and set up a booth. I mean, nobody's going to be there taping people to see who registers and who doesn't. And just because they register doesn't mean that it's going straight to Onslow County anyway. So it could be going to another state.
Oh, so they could the Republican Party you're talking about.
Right. I mean,
set up there. The Board of Elections cannot set up out there.
No, not the Board of Elections, but I'm sorry, I meant to say the Republican Party, but
or the Democrat Party.
Or the Democratic Party, yes. I mean, to me, I think they should allow that. That's not campaigning. That's not. It's just giving the people a chance to register to vote.
So if somebody comes up to you when you guys have voter registration drives, they come up to you, they fill out this form, they put it in an envelope and seal, right?
Right.
And
that's the way they're doing it right now, the Republican headquarters at the drive-through window. But in the past, I've had many of a person come into our headquarters and they'll fill out a form. And I've had Democrats, I've had unaffiliates, and of course Republicans. I mean, we don't discriminate, and we turn the registrations in.
We're
very honest about it. Yes,
but you don't know how they. You don't not necessarily know how they register.
Oh, we can see it on the forum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, the past when we've done it, we've never folded it up or anything. We just put them in a little bin. At the end of the day, we take them to the Board of Elections. And, I've had
Well,
people.
one would argue that, okay, well, you could look through there and see, oh, this is a Democrat. We're not going to let that person
No, we
register.
don't do that. Just like National Night Out in the past when we did voter registrations there, I had many a person back in 2020 come up and register as a Democrat, and we treated them just the same as we would treat somebody registering as a Republican.
Yeah,
And
but
then
how are the people supposed to feel like, oh, God, this is legit? They're going to turn mine in.
Well,
How about if you don't?
But we do.
How about if you don't?
If we don't, then we always do. There is no if you don't.
How about if the Democrats do it? Would you say, okay, how about if they just don't turn in the Republicans
I
or the
trust them
independents?
to turn them all in,
Okay.
Oh, it's the same thing if you go to DMV. You go to DMV and you can register to vote there. How do you know for sure that it went through?
Because it will say, if you run your record on DMV, it will say that you're
You'll have to
registered.
run your record, though. I had a young lady that was running for Congress, and she'd gone down to DMV and registered and thought she was a Republican, and she was running for a Republican seat. And I got vetting her and looking her up and realized she was not a Republican. And she goes, well, I went to the DMV to register. I said, did you ever check it? No.
I would suggest
So,
that every one of you,
check your
if you want to know
registration.
how you're registered, all you got to do is go to the Board of Elections website,
Right.
and you can punch your own name in.
That's right.
And it will tell you how you're registered. It will tell you all the information there is to know about you that's public.
Right.
And if you don't know how to do it, you call me and I'll tell you how you're registered.
It's so
It's
easy to do
easy.
it.
We need to
It
put that
is,
up on our web
I will do
Facebook
that.
page. If you want to check your registration, and just put a link there. It's so easy.
Right.
And
I'm going to put the link on there right
you
now.
can. I can tell when you last voted. I can tell you how you voted in the primaries, whether you voted as a Democrat, Republican, or if you're an independent. That's especially important for some of us. I can tell you which primary you voted in because you get to choose Democrat or Republican.
Right.
And the general election, it only tells you that you voted.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And it goes way back. We have
It
a
goes way
candidate
back,
in
yes.
here running for their district.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My God. He had not voted since forever
No,
until
I think he
very
first
recently.
voted, what, 2019,
Something
2020?
like that. And
Had no voting record.
his claim to fame was, oh, I was deployed all that time. You weren't in the military all that time. Oh, I was a contractor. No, you were not.
And look, overseas,
Let me tell you what.
you've got absentee ballots that you
All
can get
the time.
overseas. Oh, they make it easy for
Our
everyone
deployed
to vote.
military can get an absentee ballot. You can take it with you. You can vote. Don't give me that crap.
There's no excuse whatsoever for not
Well, there are
voting.
plenty of excuses, but no reasons.
Well, exactly
There's
right.
a difference. So we had to pin him down, and he blamed me for losing the
Oh,
election.
me and you.
No, that was self-inflicted wound on his part.
Got a nice video made on us.
Oh, poor baby. I hope he got my best side.
I don't care.
Whatever. Anyway, 910-333-0139. Love to hear from you guys today. Oh, yeah, we talked a little bit about it. We got interrupted about the couple of guys up there in New York, male and female, one male, one female. Want you to call 311.
Oh,
if
yes.
you're getting robbed, hey, hold on, sir. Just hold on to that gun. I'll be with you in just a minute. I got a call. I'm not going to call 911. Trust me, it's okay. I'm not going to call the cops. And you dial 311 and you get a shrink. So the psychologist comes down supposedly and will help talk this guy down.
Well,
meanwhile, you're standing there
was a
and
gun on
you're,
you?
you're always
I
said, you're always told, you're told by this tip line, just tell him, no, I'm not going to give you your money, you dirt bag.
That's wrong.
Bang.
That's the worst advice you can give somebody that's being
Bang.
robbed. Yeah,
I
exactly.
just like, really?
Who comes up with this stuff?
You ready for my favorite lady of the day?
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Speaker of the House,
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Nancy Pelosi. She claims that Florida should keep what she terms illegal immigrants. She calls them illegal immigrants.
She called them that. Yes.
She did. I call them illegal aliens. Should stay in Florida for one very sound reason.
Why is that?
Somebody got to pick them oranges.
No.
She says somebody's got to pick the crops. She attacked Southern governors who have been shipping illegals to northern sanctuary states and
No
cities.
way.
Pelosi was obviously directing her comments to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican who's likely to throw his hat into the ring for the presidential nomination in 2024. She addressed reporters and said, "We have a shortage of workers in our country. And you see, even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, 'Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.'" Have you seen anybody in Florida saying that?
No. But is that not, could it not be construed as a racist statement?
Oh, the dreaded word.
I mean,
Okay, now I understand the whole thing here. Let me explain to you what's going on. The government has created a shortage of American workers by handing out free money, right?
right, absolutely, yes.
We know that. Businesses across the country can't get enough help to fill positions. They don't get any help from the federal government to fill their open vacancies. Many businesses have closed their doors forever
That's right.
with a government manufactured shortage. That's
Right.
what I'm now calling it. It's a government manufactured shortage of employees. The Biden administration has created a need for the illegals flooding the country. It's so simple. We'll give everybody money to stay home. We won't have enough
that's
people
right.
to go work. So therefore we can justify allowing all these illegals into the country because they will pick the crops.
That's just.
That's what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying. So let's go a bit further. What happens? What becomes of the unemployed Americans who are currently living off free money when the jobs are filled with illegals and the administration suddenly pulls the plug on free money?
Yes.
Will those Americans who no longer can get a job, ain't getting no free money, will they become dependent on welfare? Will they turn to a life of crime?
Medicaid.
Will they leave America looking for jobs in China?
They don't have to go to China. There's
Americans,
plenty of jobs here in the United States that China owns.
Americans need to wake up. The next government
right.
manufactured crisis is right around the corner.
Oh, it most certainly
It's going to be
is.
unemployed Americans
Working for the Chinese.
without getting free money,
Right.
working for the Chinese, looking for free money in the form of welfare and Medicaid.
Look at our farmlands being bought up by China. Pretty soon, if you want milk or a steak, you've got to get it from China.
Let's go look at Smithfield.
That's right. Smithfield got bought up by a Chinese company.
That barbecue tasting kind of funny to you these days?
No, it's that bacon.
Oh, the bacon.
Yeah, it used to be nice, thick cuts. Now it's real thin and paper.
In Bon Air, there's a Chinese supermarket there,
Right.
which has become a very big supermarket. That's where we bought most of our stuff. The only bacon they have is Smithfield.
Really?
Really.
Wow. And it probably came from China, huh?
Who knows where? Well, it came from here via China. I don't know how it got to there, but we know that. I know that that's what's happening. And if you need to quit turning a blind eye to what's going on in this country. Our government is our own worst enemy.
And we're losing our country.
And it's 50% of your voters' fault.
That's right.
Where we are today.
50%.
It's going to get worse. Half the voters voted for Biden.
Oh, I wasn't sure what you were referring to there.
Half
50%.
of the voters in this country voted for Biden.
Well,
all of us have to put up with it.
I don't think Biden's making the decisions anyway.
He's not. Half the voters voted for Obama.
Yes. I guarantee that, Steve.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
This ain't Steve, sweetheart. I'll
Tim.
probably look a whole lot better than Steve because I'm unaffiliated.
Good morning, Tim. Thank you for my
Good morning,
prayers.
sweet pea. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yeah, I mean, y'all hitting the nail on the head, but the thing about it is, it's the younger generation. They've been trained. They have been
Indoctrinated.
trained to be this way. Exactly. Enabled. It's called enabling. I've heard that word and heard that word. I've heard Dr. Phil talk about that word, and what it was, it started in the schools.
Yep.
And started in the colleges. Oh, when you get this degree, when you get out, you should be making $100,000 a year. And to get out, they couldn't. And oh my God, that's what I'm supposed to be making. I can't take a job for $60,000 a year. I got to have
How about for
$100,000.
$18,000 a year?
Yeah. I mean, they can't do it. They won't do it. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to live with mom. I'm going to live with mom and dad as long as I can. And you got some that are doing that.
Yep.
And mom and dad is working two
grandma.
jobs. Or grandma. Oh, yeah, grandma. Don't forget the grandmas. Bless the grandma's heart. They raise their kids and now they're having to raise the grandchildren. Because they're either strung out or they're gone somewhere or they're just living the life of the check that they got. And it makes me sick. I'm sick to no end. And even though I'm a fan of Steve's, they go, oh, well, you're not looking at the big picture. Well, you know, a big picture usually starts out as a snapshot, and I'm too busy looking at the snapshot. But I see what's coming. I mean, I told my wife last week, our case of toilet paper came in. And I looked right at her. I said, order another one. She said, what? I said, order another one.
I listened to you last week, and I was like, oh, I gotta go buy some more. I gotta start stocking up.
I went into Sam's last week, and there were at least 6 grocery carts with toilet paper that are coming out. They were listening to you, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, let me run. I got a call coming in, but that's what I want to rant and rave about. I mean, we're going to hell in a handbasket, but I heard my granddad say the same thing back in the '60s.
Yeah, I know. I understand. What goes around comes around. Thank you,
You're
Tim.
right. All right. Bye.
Bye. 910-333-0139. Want to chat about anything? Anything at all. Open mic Monday. How's that?
Oh, that's great. It just let you know the ferries have been suspended again today because of the winds.
Oh, the boats.
Whether the
You're
North
live and
Carolina
local.
ferry system.
You're live and local. Real
Not
talk.
the little wings. No.
You're live and local. Real talk. Don't go away.
Time for a break.
We might be right back. Tideline Marine and Family LLC. Going on 3 years now with Elise and George Papastrad at the helm. A lot of changes have happened there. And George made a commitment the very first day. He wanted to make sure they could turn out the boats, get them delivered, those boats in for repairs as fast as possible. Along comes a pandemic right after he took over.
Right.
And also an outboard motor manufacturer, they shut down. No more Evinrudes.
Dang.
Yeah, you can't buy them anymore. All of this happened the first year he was there. Amazing. In spite of all that, people were forced to keep their old motors running longer. In other words, when a motor reaches kind of like an end of life, you just get rid of it. You buy a new motor. There weren't no new motors. No, you couldn't get one of them. It's tough.
And I guarantee you, anything you buy nowadays to repair that old motor, the sizes have changed, the metrics have changed.
Everything has changed,
It's
and
just
it's just
ridiculous.
it takes a lot more work to maintain an old motor.
Right.
Just period. But people are doing that. They're bringing them into Tideline. But Tideline has seen the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, good.
They've got enough people on board to get work done. Naturally, as the boating season for most of us out here, most of y'all, not me, comes to an end during the winter months, right? Not many people go out. Not as many people go out.
Right.
A lot of boaters traditionally put off getting their boats into the marina, and they wait until the start
Mm-hmm.
of the next year, like in March or April. They create a backlog. They're responsible for that log jam. If you're at the end of the year, end of your boating season, and you're going to have it serviced, go get it done now.
Right. Exactly. Now's a good time.
Then do exactly what Tideline Marine tells you to do to maintain that throughout the next few months until
Right.
next year.
And
That means keep your batteries charged,
Right.
start it up periodically, let it run.
winterize it, do what you
If
need
there's
to
any
do.
winterization that needs
That's
to be
right.
done, do it. If not, most outboards don't need a whole lot done to
I
them.
imagine they have great boat covers there too, don't
You
they?
can get them. If you need a boat cover, that's fine. But, most people have that if they're going to keep it in their backyards, if they want it. Me, I personally like to have the rain come down and wash it out.
Wash the grime
Yeah,
away.
it just keeps it fresh. The rain is fresh around here. We don't have acid rain, no problems. Get your boats in if you need routine servicing. Oil, lower unit oil change, thermostats, water pumps, spark plugs, things like that.
Mhm.
That can be done. And if you wait until March or April, or God help us, May, you're going to be in a long line of people.
Yes.
Don't want to do that. And for those folks who will need they've got what Tideline calls run issues. It's not running right at the end of this year.
Mhm.
Why are you waiting until next year to get it taken care of?
Yeah, go ahead and
Makes
do
no
it now.
sense.
That's right.
I've asked a lot of people when they come in, so when did this problem first happen? Oh, well, it happened last summer. What? Why didn't you get
Just
something
now
done?
getting
Oh,
to.
but I need it back this weekend because it's Memorial Day. That ain't happening. I don't care who you are. Doesn't matter. The president won't get his boat done.
Well, it's just like your lawnmower. You don't wait till you have to
Oh,
cut the grass to
nope.
service it.
Nope. You just do that as a regular routine thing.
That's right.
And you'll be better off. Check with the folks at Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. We got a gale warning in effect
Mm-hmm.
through late tonight. Northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, gusts to 40 knots.
No way.
5 to 7 footers, 3 to 4 near shore. Dominant period 5 seconds. Sounds and rivers are rough, increasing to very rough this afternoon. Northwesterly winds tomorrow 20 to 25, gusts to 30 knots.
Wow.
Seas 5 to 7 feet, seas 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 7 seconds. Sounds and rivers rough again. Wednesday, northwesterly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas 3 to 5, 2 to 3 near shore.
Oh, lots of wind. Today, cloudy with a high near 59, winds 15 to 18 miles per hour with gusts as high as 28. Chance of rain is at 20%. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 59, winds 13 to 16 miles per hour with gusts as high as 32. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 62. Tuesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 49. Get out the blankets. And Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high near 69. It's cool
'Cause
weather.
it's fall,
It's
y'all.
fall. You can open some windows. Air out the house.
You know who Chuck Todd is, right? NBC.
Yes.
He and MSNBC host Simone Sanders Townsend, they were covering for Joe Biden's gaffe regarding a recently deceased politician yesterday on Meet the Press.
Constant covering.
Biden made headlines last week. He seemed to forget. He was at a hunger meeting or a symposium or something.
Right.
And he seemed to forget that Representative Jackie Walorski from Indiana had recently died in a car crash back in August. He was seen on video stumbling over his words and asking where Jackie was at the White House conference. Where's
I
Jackie?
remember that.
Anybody seen Jackie? Anybody seen Jackie? Where's Jackie?
Yeah.
The White House press secretary, she was asked by a bunch of reporters time and time again shortly after and would not admit Biden made a mistake, insisting the deceased congresswoman was simply, her words, her phrase, top of mind for the president. I just don't even know what that means.
I guess she's trying to say, well, she was just on his mind.
Yeah, because he was supposed to meet with her on Friday. I'll meet with her family on Friday.
Maybe he didn't
Why
know
is
she
he
passed
why
away.
is he looking through the audience and looking for her?
Right. I don't know. I just don't know.
Todd said that it occurred because the event was focused on hunger, an issue Walorski focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he thought she was in the audience. And I'm not bashing Biden. Please, Steve and others out there, I'm not bashing Biden.
Right.
I've said time and again, he should not be in this position in the public eye like this. His wife is as much to blame as everybody else in the Democrat National Committee, but the DNC and his wife allowing it, they are the ones who are responsible. They know better.
It's a lot of stress on him.
It is a lot of stress on him.
I just don't see where he handles it very well.
We've all harped on his years of feeding at the trough, so to speak,
Right.
or as some would say, like me, as a public servant.
But yet the people elected him.
The people elected him. That's what they wanted. That's fine. I'm talking about prior to the presidency.
Right.
But he was a pawn during this last election in 2020. He was nothing but a pawn. The Democrats had to get somebody with name recognition, somebody who was moderate, but still a Democrat to run, somebody that they hoped would beat the bashed Donald Trump. They took him down for 4 straight years. They worked on him. And from every nook and corner, did he deserve it? That's up to people to say. But they worked on him constantly. When they were working on him, our legislators working on him with the impeachment word, when they kept doing that for all those years, that's all they mentioned, every one of them, we got to impeach, we got to impeach, we got to impeach, we got to impeach, let's impeach him. They were not representing the rest of us during that time. They were not working for us during that time.
I agree.
They were not getting the job done. Part of the reason we're where we are today, because they didn't do their job.
That's right. I agree with that 100%.
Too many of us reelected them.
Yes.
And we should not have.
Well, at that time, that was our choice. We had
I
Biden
cannot
or Trump.
blame him for his physical or mental state.
No.
Cannot do that.
No.
I blame the other people for keeping him in there doing that.
Oh, I agree.
And for God's sakes, he needs to finish this term.
Yes. Oh, yes, he does.
because the alternative is exactly what the Democrats want.
Right. Someone who believes in
Wait
equity.
until January
Yeah.
2023, when he's been in office for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years and 1 day, he's going to say, I can't do this anymore.
I don't think you'll ever see him do that, but I am concerned
Democrats
about
want
his
him to do it.
health. I am concerned about his health.
The Democrats wanted him to do it. That was the plan in the beginning because they really liked Kamala Harris. That's the reason they
Mhm.
picked her. That's the reason that she dropped out of the
Right.
race in the first place, because the Democrats promised her she would be VP.
Hey, have you got any old car batteries or hazardous waste that you need to get rid of at your
I
house?
refuse to answer that question. Do grenades count?
I didn't ask about bombs and grenades. No, the Onslow County landfill on Meadowview Road is having a residential household hazardous waste collection
Oh, that's
day
cool.
this coming Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Residential household hazards waste items collected are paint and paint-related materials,
Yep.
pool chemicals, aerosol cans, household cleaners, chemicals, mercury thermostats, pesticides, herbicides, prescription drugs, and the list goes on. And I understand, like used car batteries, old
Well,
car
you know what?
batteries, and
Used
stuff
car
like that.
batteries they can be recycled.
Yes, yes, you can take them. Can't you take them to like an AutoZone or
Yeah,
one of those type
I think
stores?
you can. I know that you go to Tie-Dye Marine and you want to buy a battery for your
Mhm.
new battery. If you don't have what they call a core, you're going to be
Right.
charged for it.
Right.
It's like 25 bucks or something.
Yes.
So those batteries can be recycled generally at places that sell new batteries.
Right. Because I have
They're not going to give you any money for it.
I have it. I don't want money. I just want to get rid. I have a
Yep.
car battery and a lawnmower battery that I've had for years in the garage. I want to get rid of.
Really?
Yes.
Bring it in. I'll take it.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Okay. I'll bring it in tomorrow morning. Throw it in the back. Well, I won't throw it, but I'll put it in the back of my truck.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because that might save somebody 25 bucks when they come in.
Yes.
We just got an extra
But if you
battery
do
there.
have, I know paint cans. I don't put paint cans into. Well, I get the water-based paint anyway. I'll wash them out just to where they're the
Afterwards, yeah.
bigger can, and they'll take them like that. But if you sit it out on the curb and you have a little bit of old paint on it,
Nope.
they will not take it.
Nope.
So I've
No.
learned a lot about. Of course, I live in the city like you do, and I have great collection service. I sure hope they pick up that wood today that I had to take off the curb this weekend, put back, and then bring it back out.
What kind of wood?
It's just scrap pieces of wood and scrap pieces of fencing
Oh.
that I put on the curb, and evidently
Why don't
I've
you just
learned
burn
now
it?
you can't burn it in the city,
Well, you can
and
have.
it's treated wood.
Oh, well, it was treated. It's no
And then
longer
I'm
treated.
finding out that it's not considered yard waste; it's considered household waste.
Construction.
It's household waste because it's treated wood.
Ah.
So when I put it out last week for pickup on yard day, they didn't pick it up. So not knowing what the Ian was going to do Friday, I didn't want wood blowing out in the street and hitting the cars. I had to pick it all up and take it to the back and then bring it back out yesterday. So I hope it gets picked up today. I'm trying to be a good citizen.
That's an interesting story. It looks like from the headline. Let's see what it's all about. A former Missouri substitute teacher accused of raping a student. He was in jail. He'd now be dead.
Wow.
30 years old. Found dead in a St. Louis County Justice Center cell after being charged with 3 counts of statutory rape and 6 counts of statutory sodomy. He was alone in his cell when he was discovered unresponsive last week. A cause of death is not yet known, but a county executive, there are no indications of drug use or suicide. He'd been charged earlier in the month with raping one of his 14-year-old female students while she was attending the middle school.
Goodness.
Really?
I tell you, it's just so much going on.
They said that he groomed the girl on social media after meeting her at the school last May.
And that's why parents need to check their children's social media accounts. You know, they need to put some type of something on it, some kind of safe barrier on there.
Yep.
And they need to, because so many of those cases, like you're talking about, is they get on social media and they'll meet some pervert, not knowing because they're innocent. And next thing you know, they're missing. They've run off to meet this person.
According to the investigators, he raped the girl at her home on 3 different occasions
Oh my gosh.
and made threats against her if she told the cops or her family.
Mm.
They've also found 2 other victims of his, and they're investigating that. He's the 3rd inmate to die at the St. Louis County Jail this year. 5 inmates died in the jail in 2019.
Wow. Do you have concealed? I know. Getting on to another subject. Do you have concealed carry insurance?
No, but I understand a whole bunch of people do.
Yes, I'm mad. It's I understand it's
Why?
starting to be. I guess if you shoot somebody and you didn't have the, um, you did it in it wrongly. In other words, like they weren't
Well,
putting your life in danger or jeopardy or had the
that's
ability.
always a liable question
That's right.
anytime it happens. In North Carolina, if you shoot somebody and there's the DA applies the Castle doctrine to it, you can't be sued.
That's right.
There's no criminal charges if the district attorney says he had a right to defend himself. Once the DA rules that the Castle doctrine applies, then you cannot be charged criminally nor civilly.
Well, most concealed carry insurance companies now are saying that they've seen an unprecedented
They
growth
have.
in the past few years.
Yep.
Where like 20 years ago, 50,000, now it's over 700,000 people with insurance.
Yeah.
But like you said, well, why would you need if you follow the law?
If you
And if you've taken a good concealed carry class who teaches you what you can and can't do.
I would strongly recommend that everybody who carries a gun or anybody who, thinks they're going to have to use it, I would strongly recommend that you go back and take a look-see at when you can shoot and
That's
don't
right.
shoot.
That's right.
Okay? Somebody who's stealing your outboard motor from your boat in the back of your house, you can't shoot them. Okay? You can't do that.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, if they're in your house,
If they come into your house to
shoot 'em.
steal the motor, that's up between you and him.
That's right.
For people like me, for people who have prior law enforcement, or for people who are currently law enforcement officers, that shoot, don't shoot thing, there's a little higher degree of expectation.
Right.
The kid who breaks into your home in the middle of the night, law enforcement people, they confront individuals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Does he pose a threat? Well, yeah, I can knock the crap out of him. I don't have to shoot him.
Right. Right.
Or if he's drunk and he got into the wrong house or the wrong apartment,
that
which they
has
all look
happened.
alike, a 15-year-old kid, that's not somebody you want to kill.
What do you mean they all look alike?
Apartments.
Oh, because
When you're in
I
an
was
apartment
like,
complex,
what?
when you're in an apartment complex,
yes, I agree.
the guy gets into the wrong house, wrong room, wrong apartment, whatever. He meant to go into
Right.
one next door. He gets into yours. He's just drunk. He's a 15-year-old.
Right. And it has happened.
It happens. Yes, you have the legal right to shoot him. The Castle doctrine will apply. But do you want to have that on your conscience?
No.
No. It's bad enough to have any shooting on your conscience.
Right.
But for something like that, that's going to be hard to live with.
Exactly. I would imagine so.
Very seriously
And I
hard
hope
to
I
live with.
never have to see that day.
Nope. Sorry. All right, 910-333-0139. You're live and local Real Talk. We'll be right back. Anyone else have anything you want to talk about? 910-333-0139. Got 2 disturbances down there in the
Yes, I was just looking at that.
tropical area of the Atlantic. Disturbance number 1, been out there for a week or more, at least. It hasn't moved very far. It's been just hanging around. There's a 50-50 chance of it forming up into something, tropical storm likely, possibility, in the next 2 days. 70% over the next 5 days.
Yes.
It's southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, producing lots of what they're calling disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are now forecast to be favorable for some gradual development.
Oh, that's just
and a
wonderful.
tropical depression is likely to form around the middle part of this week. And we'll talk to you about the other one in just a minute. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning. This is Mike McHugh over in Swansboro.
Hey, Michael, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm actually a little peeved at the moment, though. I want to tell you why, and I think you'll be
Go ahead.
equally upset after I tell you this story. You ready?
Yes, sir.
So yesterday afternoon, I'm walking my dog on the 4-H camp property, which is now part of Hammocks Beach State Park, and I see 3 anglers leaving the property with their buckets and rods and all that stuff. They were fishing off there's a pier there that goes into Queens Creek.
Right.
A day earlier, I'd seen the same trio leaving, and they left an inordinate amount of dead finger mullet on the deck.
Really?
Dock, which is stupid, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they checked that box for stupidity.
Throw it overboard. If nothing else, you don't want it, throw it overboard.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
it's recycling.
Right. So yesterday afternoon, I walk onto the deck of the dock, and it's about 9 by 9 or so. It extends out maybe 50 feet or so, and there's a deep trench. You know the area of Crayford. And the deck is clean, and aside from a few bits of chunks of bait out there, so I throw those overboard, and I notice off to my left, about 10 feet off, this head comes out of the water. It's a sea turtle. It's like, wow, you don't see that. You don't see that very often in Queens Creek. Now, when we had the storm surge, we had a lot of current going through the river on Friday. So I'm guessing, okay, this little guy got swept into Queens Creek. I thought I'll never see that again. About a minute or so later, I look on one of the posts of the dock. It has a roof, and it has like a 4x4 wood post. And there's this green monofilament tied to the post.
No.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and it's real taut. It's going out towards the center of the creek. So I began to pull on it, and it felt like I was pulling in a ray or a tire or a boot. Well, guess what it was?
The turtle.
It was the turtle.
Oh no.
Did it? What was there a hook on it?
Yeah. And I pulled it up to the surface, and both its front flippers were frantically flipping.
Yeah.
And it broke the line.
Well, glad he's
so
free.
I'm hoping that
at least
the
he's
hook,
free.
if it wasn't swallowed, I don't think it was, will corrode off rather quickly.
Yeah, I hope so too.
But I filed a report with Ranger Jake Vitek at the park, and
Ranger Jake.
you know, to the 3 people that are out there, all I can say is smile. You may be on candid camera.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I really
It's
hope
an
so.
endangered species, you know. And this was a good size one. So you think of all that it has gone through to make it to that size.
Well, just to make it to hatch first.
To hatch, exactly.
And then to make the trip from there to the sea.
To the Sargasso Sea.
And then to survive once you're in the water.
Yep.
For the first few days. Even.
They're just meals.
I mean,
for fish out there.
you're nothing but like 1 in 1,000.
I think it's like 1 in 10,000. I've heard different numbers. It's astronomical.
Yeah. All those that hatch.
But you know,
make it to adulthood.
Rayford, it's one thing to hook into. You know, heck, I've heard people hook into pelicans and osprey when they cast.
I have to.
But you do what you be responsible outdoorsman. And the fact that the monofilament was tied to the post, I said to the ranger, I said, that showed intent. Like, I don't know what they were intending to do, whether to come back for it or what, but it wasn't going to survive like that.
Wow, that's just sad.
Thanks for doing what you did. And yes,
Yes, thank
absolutely, that deserves a stupid award of the year. And if they are ever caught, we need to petition Marine Fisheries. They do not have to. They should not have a fishing license for the next 5 years.
Exactly.
I'd like to tie them to the post.
Yeah,
with
be on
monofilament
or
in
they
the
can
creek.
or they can let me tie them up for a while.
Yeah, yeah. So,
You ever been water skiing going through the inlet without skis?
Oh, Lordy.
yeah,
Hold
I
on.
hope that. I
Bumpy.
mean, people talk. Hopefully, these idiots are talking about their unusual catch, and it'll get back to the rangers who are law enforcement officials. They can.
If anybody out there listens or hears these idiots and they know who they are, reach out to the Rangers. Call 911. I
Yeah,
don't care what you do.
Let me give you the number to Hammock Beach State Park if I could.
Go
if
ahead.
I have a minute here. 910-326-4881.
All right. 910-326-4881.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hammock Beach State Park. Tell them you're calling because you know who the idiots were. Just tell them I'm on idiot patrol. I know who the idiots are who did what they did.
Yeah. I thought I was seeing a once in a lifetime, event, seeing that head pop up. We've seen dolphin in Queens Creek. They chased the fish in there, but I think this poor turtle got swept in on the surge. They're not usually in those waters.
Yeah. Well, he may come ashore intentionally, trying to find safe haven. Those waves got big out there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll keep. I know the Rangers are going to put more focus on that area of the park.
I hope they do.
And the neighbors around our neighborhood will
And
as well.
please pass along to the Rangers that if they find these idiots, let us know once they file charges.
Yep.
Ask
Hopefully if there are cameras up there, and I believe there are, they'll get some images that they can.
I hope their hair was combed. So
yeah, that's right. And most of their teeth in place.
Yeah, both of them. Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day, Mike.
Let's take a break here live and local Real Talk. We'll be right back. Would that put you to sleep?
Yes, definitely.
Sounds of the ocean.
I know, it's so
You
relaxing.
need to pop that up on your computer and play it all night long.
Yeah, I could get Alexa to do it. I know you love Alexa.
Yeah. Hey, Alexa, call 910-333-0139. Alexa, call 910-333-0139.
I'm sorry for you listening that have their Alexa sitting next to you.
Disturbance number 2.
Oh,
it's not me.
no.
It's east of the Windward Islands and closing in. It's moving about 15 to 20 miles per hour, moving westward. And it's getting a little bit better organized since yesterday. Further development of the so-called tropical wave is possible, and a depression could form within the next 2 or 3 days. It should reach the Windward Islands and the Eastern Caribbean by midweek. So all y'all out there going on vacation or whatever, and I know I just got a text message from one person who's down there.
Yes.
In Bonaire. So y'all could get something by the end of the week.
I like the sound of the waves as you're giving the report. Where's that wind?
That's waves. That's kind of like white noise. And
yes.
During the break, Lee was talking about she could not sleep without noise in the background. Like
I have
the
to have
TV
my
going.
TV on, or I can't sleep.
I don't want to hear the TV because there might be something going radical in there, but this could be.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, goodness.
I could sleep like a baby with that stuff going on.
Yes.
So, anyway.
So, getting back, I hope it was like disturbance number 2 didn't look too bad, but it was disturbance number 1 that has a 70% chance of formation
right now,
in 5 days.
But it's had that for the last 7 or 8 days.
Well, it's because everybody's focus was on Ian, the storm that will not die. It will not
dead.
go
It's
away.
gone.
No, it's not. It's still got upper level winds that are affecting us
but
now.
they're not on the map.
It's just little parts of it that just won't die.
It's the leftover stuff, the fragmentation.
Yeah.
Kind of like fragmentation
It's
grenades.
like that putty that glows in the dark that kids play with, and you throw it away, but you still find more.
I didn't know anything about that.
No, okay.
Good. I
Hey,
don't want to know anything about it.
Did you know November 6th, daylight savings time changes?
Well, there's
It ends. Daylight
there
saving time
is a
ends.
proposal that the states will be able to
They've
keep
had that for a
daylight
while,
savings
though. They
time
better
around.
hurry up.
Well, Florida is doing daylight savings time year round now.
Well, I wish we had it year round.
And I think there are 2 other states or something. I'm torn. It'll be darker later in the mornings.
Yes, it'll be
But
darker
that's
later.
okay.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I come in here when it's dark anyway, even when
Yes.
there's daylight savings time in the
Yes.
middle of the summer. It's dark when I
It's
get here.
darker now. I mean,
Oh, it's darker now, but I
right.
mean, it's still dark when I get here in the
Right.
mornings. So that's not going to bother me.
Well, I know.
But I haven't.
It's
It'd
getting
be
dark
nice
at 5:00.
in January, in December, late December and January when it's dark at 5:00.
Yes. I want to go to bed 5:30 with the TV on.
Yeah, they'll still have afternoon cartoons going.
You know, with the price of electricity and fuel prices, electricity. Yeah, it's thinking about sleep. With the price of electricity and fuel, you know, to heat your home, and now the sun setting earlier because we're coming off of daylight savings time. You're right. We need our legislature in Raleigh to pass this.
We got 2 people here in Onslow County we can't depend upon to get any of that done.
Well, they need a swift kick in the tail then.
Maybe 1 after November. Okay, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in here tomorrow morning, bright and early. Well, it'll be early. I don't know how bright it'll be at 7 o'clock even. I haven't looked outside at 7 o'clock lately. And we'll have a good time. Rick D's and the Daily D's coming up at 10 o'clock this afternoon, 3 o'clock. It's Hollywood. Hollywood will
I
be
have to
in
go
the
see
house.
Hollywood today. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood, watch out. Lee's coming to see you.
Coming to see you.
You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.